Oftentimes in movies, Russia is shown being the all-powerful tough guy, bullying the little guy. Now in the movie Rocky IV, Rocky has to fight against the most menacing man he's ever seen. Ivan Drago, a Russian 6'5", 261-pound powerhouse whose every punch lands 1,800 psi, while the average is 700. And many viewers and critics have suggested that Drago is meant to symbolize America's perception of Russia, which is immense, powerful, and emotionless. It is evident that this is true. Russia is under the direct control of the harsh leadership of Vladimir Putin. He is a thug, but we have no other option to deal with him and his cronies. He is just too powerful, says Fortune magazine. He continues to violate his citizens' right to freedom of expression. Protesters and the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual questioning community have had many problems with their human rights being violated. In my opinion, nobody is benefiting. There's only suffering in Russia. Russian authorities have routinely denied permits for pride parades and intimidate and arrest LGBTQ activists. Human rights workers have been urging Russia to change their policy. Protesters around the world lobby for human rights in Russia. People post on social media and try to spread awareness. Sadly, these efforts go in vain as Russia simply ignores all these people. Russia's immense and emotionless power is not fazed by continuous efforts of their and people around the world to change legislation and make a difference. Vlad Chaplin, the head of the Church and State Relations in Russia, has shown that the Church has a negative opinion on freedom of expression. Vlad Chaplin, the head of Church and State Relations in Russia, has shown that the Church has a negative opinion on freedom of expression. Chaplin also garners the headlines for his outspoken views on subjects ranging from gay marriage to abortion. For example, Chaplin says that gays are free to express their opinions, and that Russia's controversial recent laws are just an effort to prevent the efforts of gay groups to persuade the society by manipulation or dishonest political campaigning. In 2013, the Russian Orthodox Patriarch Vladimir M. Gundiev said that the Western countries passing laws allowing same-sex marriage was a very dangerous and apocalyptic symptom that would lead down a path of self-destruction if applied to Russia. Now, Gundiev has very homophobic views. He passes these views down to his followers and tries to spread false propaganda. He insults the LGBTQ and tries to justify Vladimir Putin's legislation. In 2013, a homosexual man named Chizevsky was attacked in the streets. He says he saw two men wearing masks. After that, he heard shots. The first one hit my eye. They all yelled, "Where will you run, faggot?" And he hit me several times with a baseball bat. The police investigation was never truly attempted, and no one was ever arrested. Most of the problem in Russia is the inactivity of government. Vladimir Putin does nothing to defend the LGBTQ. His job is to protect the people of his country from having their rights violated, but he just stands and watches as people get assaulted. Oftentimes, government officials have been noted saying sexist and racist remarks. The president of the Russian Tennis Federation, Shamil Terespiev, was heard saying extremely sexist and racist remarks, says Serena Williams. He described the tennis stars Serena Williams and her sister Venus as the Williams brothers. The point what he was saying was that because they're so good, they must be male. He's saying that males are superior to females, which is obviously sexist. In April 2015, 3 young women were arrested for dancing near a monument. They were put in jail for hooliganism. Now, hooliganism is a very vague rule. 2 members of a punk rock band in prison for 2 years on an impromptu arrest in front of a cathedral last year. Now, if Russia would let people express themselves freely, then the country would start to change for the better. There would be less crime, less hate, less subjugation. Russia would be a country that families would go to have a good time. But this, sadly, is not going to happen right now. But there are other ways to improve the country. The first way is for the Russian Orthodox Church to start trying to further the tolerance of its followers. The lead spokesman for the church sees nothing wrong with the church and state speaking together as one voice, which is arguable but all right. The issue with this is that the church is saying the things that the government should not be heard saying. And when they're grouped together, they seem like one voice. So when the church makes homophobic statements, it makes the government seem that way too. The church needs to teach people of Russia positive values instead of spreading propaganda against the LGBTQ. Now this might enrage some people, but it would create a more fair society. Secondly, the Russian government should crack down on statements made by the government officials. Oftentimes, officials portray their stereotypes against other people verbally. Now the government needs to make laws discouraging these statements made by their members. Russian sports minister Vitaly Mutko says, racism is damaging Russia's image and could hurt its relation, especially with the World Cup possibly going to Russia in a few years. These racist and sexist remarks scare people to express who they are. They keep people from expressing themselves in a country. Now, Russia needs to start making examples of its political figures and its government officials. They need to stop racism and sexism in the government to create a more fair government so there's less subjugation. And another way to improve conditions is to actually work with people. The LGBTQ, for example, is a huge and strong group that encompasses all kinds of people: lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgenders. Now, if Russia endorses some of the ideas that the LGBTQ has peacefully, then there would be much more peace. They could help draft forward-thinking resolutions and bills, and these bills could protect the rights of the citizens. Like, you can't just assault someone in the street for being gay. Russia is a huge country and it has large room for improvement. But these ideas can help change the way people are treated in Russia. And although it might take decades to support the freedom of expression, people will someday look back and think, wow, change is amazing.